Morning, boys and girls. Welcome back to science. I guess it's probably afternoon when you guys are watching this, so good afternoon. We are continuing on with our science lesson in our unit talking about trees and the parts of trees. So this week we started introducing some new vocabulary words like tree. We see trees all over the place. I bet if you guys look out your window right now, you can see at least one tree. And we've talked about that what grows on trees are leaves. Leaves can be all different shapes, all different colors. Leaves are beautiful. And what we started working on this week was we started to understand the different parts of a tree. A tree is something that is living, it is alive. It can grow over time and then it may die at some point. But trees can live for years and years, sometimes even hundreds of years if they are taken care of. So we started talking about the parts of the tree and we introduced some vocabulary words like roots, trunk, crown, and branches. We've looked at two different diagrams that have taught us about the different parts of a tree. So we talked about how right here, this kind of little squiggly green line we're pretending is the grass. So down below, underneath the ground, the parts that we don't see are the roots. And we talked about how the roots can look like thousands of spider webs, but very strong spider webs. And what they do is they hold the tree into the ground. They give the tree stability. They keep it from falling over when the wind comes and when the rain comes at night or during the day. So the roots are really important because they hold the tree to the ground and they also are able to drink up water and nutrients that the tree needs to grow. So the next part above the ground, above the grass, is the trunk. Here's our trunk. Our trunk is that big wooden piece. It looks like a big wooden log. The trunk we talked about kind of acts like a straw. So if you were drinking like some chocolate milk and you had a straw and you sucked up the milk, the trunk almost acts like a straw. It'll suck up the water and the nutrients the roots have, and it will send it all the way up, up, up to the crown of the tree, the crown that's filled with branches, all of these smaller sticks, we can say, in the crown of the tree, and the leaves which grow on the branches. So we've learned about these different parts of the tree. And it's so neat to see that a tree is actually a living thing and it's growing every day as it gets water and it gets sunlight. Trees are really amazing because, as we've talked about, there's a lot of life that lives on our trees. If we were to get really, really up close to a tree, we could probably see a bunch of bugs. I know that I like to go and I can look at some trees, and sometimes I see spiders on them, sometimes I see ladybugs on them. The trunk of the tree is filled with what we call bark. The bark is like the wood that grows on that trunk. The bark helps protect the inside of the tree, but the bark can be very helpful for all of these living things that live on the tree, like this ladybug. Sometimes you might also see a hole in the tree, and guess what might live in there? A squirrel. So sometimes squirrels make their homes in the trees. Trees can be really cool because they can also produce things like fruit. So just like we talked about all month long, apple trees, trees can produce fruit on their leaves. They can also grow things like acorns. Who eats acorns? Squirrels. So we can find acorns growing on trees. These are so much fun. Pine cones. On a pine tree, they grow pine cones. Or in some trees, they might produce what we call sweet gumballs. I don't know if you've ever seen these. Don't step on them, they hurt. But these are sweet gumballs. So our trees can produce all of these amazing different types of fruit um, that are beneficial. They help all of our animals who live near the trees and our bugs. It's really great things to see. So trees are amazing organisms. They are alive. And we've been able to introduce all of these new vocabulary words. And you guys can continue to practice those words at home and maybe even go on a walk and see if you can spot the trees. See if you can label the different leaves. Maybe you'll see a few little things on the ground that remind you of a root. Maybe you can find the trunk. Look at the crown. Look at the branches, the bark. Maybe see if there's any fruit or acorns growing from the trees. All right, guys, you have a few activities on Seesaw that you can look at, and I will see you all soon.